I believe you're going to find this to be a very helpful and interesting call this evening. We're finding every single day that the market has just been bigger. I know in our Oklahoma City location, which is our corporate office and also our warehouse and shipping and manufacturing and everything is done there, we are off the beaten path. For all of those of you that have been to our corporate office know that we're not in a retail setting whatsoever. But yet we have anywhere from 10 to 15 people a day walking the front door wanting to buy bed bug spray in a market that's really not considered to be that bad yet. So what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about stores and retail locations to create volume. And for an example, Daryl can tell his own story in a minute, but Daryl Carter's store will be a year old November 5th. Now we have made the offer of anyone who wants to put in a Bedbug Plus store. We have no franchise fees, or what you might call a license agreement fee, which we'll have in the near future. But I think after you hear what Daryl has to say this evening, you're really going to be excited about trying to look at the opportunity and see if it's something you might want to exercise. As most of you have heard me say when I first started this company in August of 2012, that I believe in 5 years' time, 80% of American homes will have bed bugs. I still believe that. We're 2 years into it now, and we're watching the numbers grow. It's very alarming on how quick it is growing, and it may get there quicker than that. After you hear what Daryl has to say this evening, if you're really considering opening a store, my advice to you as the leader of this company would be to put out some signs first, see what kind of response you get. I know Carol Gallo, who's on the phone, who doesn't have a retail store, puts out signs in New Jersey and Pennsylvania both, and she gets an overwhelming number of calls. So it's obvious to me a store would work in her hometown, for example. We have a new store coming in St. Louis, as most of you are aware of, with John Rose, and we put out signs in St. Louis and got an overwhelming number of calls. Oklahoma City, the way we started in the retail market was distributors putting out signs. And again, overwhelming number of calls. We started out by putting out 50 signs every single Friday night to see what kind of response we would get. And we were, again, overwhelmed by the number of calls coming in and became a retail outlet without planning to be one. So anyway, do the legwork, put some signs out, run some advertisements, whatever you've got to do to see if your phone rings or not. If your phone doesn't ring where you are, then I suggest you not put a store there. But if you're in one of the markets that really lends itself to the bed bug business, you'll be amazed at what kind of money you can make, and Daryl can share that with you here in a few. We also have a young lady here in Oklahoma City who has no retail store, simply works off of signs only, and does about $9,000 a month and sells volume just off of signs, which means she's making a 50% profit, so she's doing about $4,500 a month by just meeting people and making deliveries with no retail location. So again, see what kind of response you can get before you make a decision to go spend money. Daryl, I'm going to open it up to you. I know that I really appreciate you. You've been with us now pretty early on. You will be celebrating your 1-year anniversary next month, 5th of November, I believe, and your volume just continues to grow. You're doing a tremendous job there, and my hat's off to you. I just really appreciate you, and I know these people are going to learn a lot from you tonight. So go ahead, Daryl.
Well, thank you, Tony. It's good to be on the call tonight with you guys, and it's kind of interesting seeing apparently at least interest, if nothing else, in potential stores opening up across America with this company. And I look back and sometimes I wonder what in the world was I thinking. I've been researching still to this day, trying to see if there's actually a brick and mortar store in the nation that's a bedbug store. There's a lot online, but I still have yet to find a brick and mortar. I do think that that's important, and I do just want to share some of the things that I have learned. And what I'm going to share with you tonight is really going to be pretty simple. I just kind of want to give you some math about what's happened here so that you can start to compute that and decide if this is a direction for you. But as I share this, so I don't forget, I want to share it now at the outset. Just keep in mind a few things. That first of all, I really am part-time. I'm never here probably more than 23 hours a week, and so it truly is a part-time effort. But I'm very pleased with the numbers because of my business background and being self-employed all these years, I can see potential for the coming years. And the fact that 80% or more small businesses fail within their first 3 years, and I see what's happened here, I think this is going to be encouraging news for you guys. Since month one, which Tony was right, November 5th, just in a few days, will be my 1-year anniversary when I opened the doors. And since month one, I've been in the black every single week, every single month. And so I think that's pretty awesome, and hopefully that may help some of you guys. I'm part-time. That's one important factor. And one of the things that Tony said I completely agree with is do a test market. This will give you a lot of encouragement, motivation. All the signs that I put out is exactly where my store ended up being. And I think probably 90% of the sales that I met people, like at Quick Trips here, the convenience stores that are real popular here in Tulsa, came from this area right where my store is. One of the things I just kind of looked up before the phone call was it looks like I'm going to hit somewhere around 1,000 transactions here in my store, and I don't know if that means good or bad to you, but it's a starting point, and it's something that all of us now have to use to set goals to do more. Hopefully that's your goal. I certainly believe that this store is going to grow just by osmosis next year. I would anticipate 20 to 30% growth without doing anything different than what I'm already doing. I think another real important factor to consider here, folks, is I have not done any advertising except for my truck. I have a 15-foot box truck that has professional graphics, and it has colors that grab the attention of the eye from several blocks away. So those 1,000 transactions have really come from just my store. But, Marketing 101 is location, location, location. I am in an area, just to kind of give you, some of you guys, an idea of the demographics that don't live near Tulsa or in Oklahoma. I would say probably the median income for this area, honestly, is somewhere between $25,000 a year and $45,000, maybe $50,000. That really is my clientele, is people who definitely can't afford, they don't have the kind of disposable income to pay for, expensive pest control services. And so I'm right in the heart of that. There's a lot of older apartments in this area, And I think that would be important if you do your research and you're looking. But I will tell you another thing that it's done is, there's certainly better areas of town, but your price per square foot is definitely going to climb. I don't know that that's our clientele yet. If you were to get a store going or 2 or 3 in areas like mine, then maybe a 4th or 5th store, you could test the market. And maybe you could work out a 6-month lease to test the market and maybe some higher income. But I will tell you, I'm starting to see more people come in, and it's only through word of mouth unless they happen to drive over this way. And people that have the money, and it's not difficult for them to whip out a check or a credit card and pay $200-$300 for a purchase. I mean, they load up. They're the kind of folks that can buy 2 to 3 treatments all at once, and that's nice. And I do have plans to try to have a store in an area of Tulsa to try to capture and see what happens, because people are people, and even though they make more money, not everybody wants to throw their money at a heat remediation or a chemical treatment with no guarantee, and that's pretty much the way it is here in Tulsa. But I want to give you just a few numbers, and I want you to understand that what I'm about to share with you is literally the tip of the iceberg, and I'm going to explain why. I've been running my numbers to get ready for this next tax season and just kind of figure out where I'm going to end up for the year. And I did get a great price, by the way. I am in a good location. It's not costing me a lot, but I actually have a lot more room here than I need. And I believe if I were going to do a second store, which I have plans for, I'm not going to get the space that I have. I have probably 600 square feet total with a little back room and a bathroom. And so my store area, 90% of my sales, this is a fact, 90+% of my sales come from one product. Whether your business sharp or not, guys, that to me is powerful. That is actually what I wanted to prove to myself when I did this store, is that we actually have a product that is a standalone product. And like we've been saying, you've been hearing it from all your leaders, is put a sign out and they will come, and I've proven that. I have put out one box truck. I'm going to generate 12 months of 2014 in the neighborhood of 1,000 transactions. And so to me, that's phenomenal. My average sale is just a little under $100. And so, those are some numbers that we can go by now. And I'm not even in Chicago. I'm not in New York. I'm not in New Jersey. I'm not in Denver, Colorado. I'm not in Houston, Texas. I'm not in Dayton, Ohio, and some of these other places where I bet if someone did what I did, they could expect to double or triple the number of transactions, and I wouldn't think that the price per transaction is going to change a lot just because our quarts are what they are and our gallons are priced what they are. But anyway, here's kind of some goals for me this next year. So I'm on pace to the 12 months of 2014 to do around $90,000 sales. So I have a goal this second year to just increase by osmosis by 25 to 30%. So that would put me up to 120,000. Again, don't forget, I'm part-time here. I'm only part-time, 23 hours, so keep that in mind. And I'm not going to change that next year. I will try to do more than just my truck out front. I do have plans to do some advertising and articles and get in some papers. So now, if my second year, I don't do anything other than what I'm doing to my store, except come in part-time and grow by osmosis 20, 30%. And then I might, and I actually have plans for a second store, something smaller, but I don't believe that my sales will be, I should expect any different than what I have done in my first year. I won't be there, the person talking and selling, but I believe that with technology, having videos that I can create for someone in the store working at minimum wage to play videos, that's my sales tool, and I shouldn't expect any different, but my rent should be a lot less, my overhead should be less because of what I've learned here. And so in the end, in just my second year, conservatively, in part-time, even that other store I believe could be part-time, I could generate $250,000 in my second year. And so you begin to see real quickly that this can become very serious. And if someone wanted to get aggressive and just focus on stores, or they just want to get one store, and I haven't even begun to consider, what if I found 5 or 10 distributors in some of these big cities now that I've got some numbers to share with them? What if they go do what I do, and for volume and the bonus check that would come from that? What if I spend some of my walking and talking time finding some VIP accounts? I'm actually talking to one, we'll be talking to one very soon, that they're in charge of multiple school systems. And it wouldn't take very many of those for those to add up. It's just so I have all these add-ons that I haven't even thought about. They're not even in the works yet, because I keep trying to make what I have better and refine. But I do like the idea, let's work smarter, not harder. And so, guys, again, just conservatively, you got to get started somewhere. Maybe you folks are in an area that you could just blow my first year out of the water. And I honestly hope to hear that some of you guys do that. But while you're working on your first year, trying to blow mine out my second year, I'm going to set a pace for some of you guys. It's going to be a challenge. And I'm telling you guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is only the end of first year. And second year, I really wouldn't be surprised if I just put half effort that my sales could hit $250,000 to $300,000 in my second year. Now, the product cost is around 52 or 3%. But it still leaves plenty of money on the table for someone to jump out there with not a lot of risk and staying in the black from the get-go and start to make a really good income.
Well, Daryl, I appreciate that. That's some great information, and I'm going to share a few more numbers real quick for people to kind of think about. And there's a real market in this world for the bedbug solution. Now, in Oklahoma City, again, we're not in a retail location. You heard me tell the numbers earlier, how many people a day come in. Our numbers are a little greater than Daryl's numbers, only because we do advertise. We have $1,000 a month that we spend on Fox 25 here in Oklahoma City market. It's only $1,000 a month, but it seems to fit the people that need our product. We're on a lot of the judge shows during the days and things like that. But we're doing about $2,500 to $2,700 a week in sales, which is over $10,000 a month. So let's think about this, guys. If one store, and Daryl's doing pretty close to those same numbers, in a year's time, we're 2 years in. If you're doing a little over $10,000 in sales, as Daryl just said, your profit's going to be in the neighborhood of 47 to 50%. With your rebate checks, it's going to be greater than that. Well, let's just assume it's only 50% to make numbers easy. So if I can do $10,000 a month out of a non-retail location in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, where we don't supposedly have a bed bug problem like Chicago, Detroit, L.A., Denver, some of these other cities and states, that's a $5,000 a month profit. Now, if I can make $5,000 a month out of one store, how much money can I make if I had 10 stores? That would be $50,000 a month. Now, what if I had 100 stores around the United States? And there's enough market out there to accommodate 100 stores, I promise you. That's $500,000 a month profit. That's the kind of numbers I'm looking at. So, again, it's not all about the money. It's making GF7 become a household name. It's giving people a solution to a problem that's just horrific. That's one branch of a store. Now, think about this. A lot of people are elderly or just simply lazy, and they don't want to follow our instructions on how simple it is to spray this product and rid their home of bed bugs. They want someone to come out and do it for them. We're doing about $2,700 a week in calls right now where we go out and spray for the homeowner because they don't want to lift the mattresses. They don't want to flip the furniture upside down. They don't want to do any of that, and they want it to be guaranteed by us, so they pay us to come do it. So now if you're making $10,000 a month in volume with product, you're doing another $10,000 a month, which is pretty much all profit, spraying homes. Multiply that times 5 stores, 10 stores, 100 stores. I mean, it gets astronomical. And again, I agree with Daryl. If mine or Daryl's store was in Chicago, Illinois, those numbers that we just shared with you tonight would probably be 4 times the number it is what we're sharing. If you're in Detroit, around the same, 4 to 5 times. L.A., same thing. If I'm in Ardmore, Oklahoma, I'm probably still going to do a great business, but the numbers are going to be smaller. So again, as Daryl and I both have shared with you tonight, just do your homework. Get out there and find out what your market will allow.